Why would I come back to Kona for a 50th camp? And the main reason is because I've come here for 50 camps, and I would say pretty much every single one other than one, I was worse after the camp than when I got here. And I think I won't say that's the norm, but you do see that's a common theme of people who come to Kona to do a camp. They probably dig themselves a hole and then end up underperforming, and then I would make an argument that the whole camp was in vain and that they would have been just better off coming like a couple days before the race and coming in with what they had done, and they probably would have performed better. So for me, missing Nice and the next Ironman World Championship being Kona and indefinitely in Kona, it was important for me, especially at this baseline time when I'm coming back from a serious injury, to prove to myself that I learned a lot in that Kona camp last year and just last year in general. And so I wanted to come here and prove to myself that I could train here in Kona. And so what is training? My definition of training is the systematic process by which you slowly build yourself up and over time. And so, last Kona camp, I came here at a certain level. The first few sessions that I did, I was like, oh, wow, I'm actually in pretty good shape. I think I'm going to be able to do pretty good. And then that just went downhill for the rest of the 30 days or so that we were here. And then that resulted in my performance in that race. I think it was the earliest I had ever felt just completely destroyed. Like I don't even know if I made it to mile 5 of the run. And I was already completely like I was like I need to I have to walk at mile 5 of the run. So my worst ever, in fact. And yet my longest camp, my most resources put into the camp. So there's a big correlation there. And so it was important for me to come here and do this and prove to myself that you understand how to train. And so the nice part, the part that made it, let's say, easier this time round, is that the race is, when I got here, over 13 months away. So I have this extremely long runway, which I would say has been in the past probably a big piece of the problem, is not giving myself a really long runway and sort of coming here and doing like a bunch of panic stuff or doing stuff that, like workouts that I think, quote unquote, would be what it would take to win, and yet you're not really ready for those workouts, Of course, last year, having Christian and Gustav around, what definitely didn't help. Watching guys who are definitely in better shape than you are, watching them only makes you even more insecure, and probably listen to your body less, which certainly happened to me last year. So this year I've come absolutely no expectations. The only expectation that I've had is to understand where I'm at, where I should be training in this environment, as if I lived here and I was going to build myself up for a season living here in Kona. And so far I would say it's been successful. I've overdone a few sessions, and I was able to, and the sessions weren't even good. They were actually, not very high level sessions, but I was able to say to myself, yeah, that was too much. And how did I judge that? I had poor sleep a few nights, metrics like low HRV, high lactate, high heart rate, these sorts of things that are indicators of starting to not absorb the training. So that was the rationale for coming here. Of course, also, it's not a bad place to come and bring the family. And so it's been a nice family vacation as well. And also, I was able to start to get back to run training. And so that's what we're doing today, is certainly my biggest run workout yet. Not this season, but this comeback period.
Since May.
Since May,
yeah.
Yes. The last time that I had done a really hard workout was May, approximately 20th.
What are you thinking?
harsh training environment. Definitely need to probably, if you want to absorb the training here, err on the side of caution at all times, because it's a harsh environment. Everything's ramped up here.
I can. Round one, fight.
Yeah, it's too on K's. It's pretty light, but it's going to start to add up with the heat stress pretty quick.
Maybe you still are ramping up.
Up.
You don't want to give it back to your All right, so second real run workout in the bank since being here. How did that one go?
I mean, it went really well, if really well means listen to the body and train within yourself and your current capacity. And my hypothesis was that, well, I've been probably chronically depleted for much of my career, and that's all fine and dandy in 70.3 because it's not very long. And even in a temperate Ironman, though I've never had an Ironman that I didn't really blow up in. And so now everything seems to be behaving as you would think it would behave. My RPE is exactly where you would think it is for the pace to power to lactate. Whereas in the past, even in the camp we did just whatever, how many months ago now, about a year ago, none of that stuff lined up. Now everything's lining up. So it's extremely humbling, I'll tell you that, because being competitive here feels like it's, you know, miles and miles away. But the reality is, my last 5 outings here, being competitive has been miles and miles away. So at least now the perception of that is very clear. We'll come back again for sure, continue to work, plug away. 70.3 Worlds is likely next. I put my name on the Augusta list, but it's just not happening. It's not happening in time. And so 7 weeks from Sunday, 2 days from today, until 70.3 Worlds, which is that feels very, very tight. But that's the situation I'm in. So that's where we're headed. I have to do an addendum to the run workout because I was on the broken down mentally side in the run workout. And that's the reality of feeling pretty damn good back in May and then having it all come crashing down. That's the reality. I was in good shape. I was in pretty good shape. I was knocking on the door of pretty good shape. And I didn't build that in 3 months. I've also come to quite a difficult place to train. So the workouts are really hard. Like just doing workouts are really hard. And also I weigh 12 pounds more. A little bit more weight, you know, two 5-pound ankle weights on. And I probably maybe just feeling things more as well a little bit, you know. I was probably in quite a fog last time we were here. Sort of a, I don't know, stress hormone fog, blunting everything. And I'm probably not nearly as foggy at the moment. So I'm like feeling the strength of the signal a little more, which I think is great. But that's how this game works, is you don't get nothing for free. Let's become better because of this injury than you've ever been. And that's the possibility for sure here, if you play your cards right.
So all that being said,
last time I was here, I was crushing 3 sessions a day. Last time,
so
in the last Kona
today?
camp. Just crushing sessions, crushing them. You know what that got me? 35th place. Oh man, did I ever train. I trained the freaking lights out. It was awesome.
walked that marathon earlier than ever. So that can't be the, if it was just how hard one trains, that's not, there of course is a correlation, there's a correlation there, but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more nuance to that, right? Because if you train crazy hard, but it doesn't make you any better, then what's the point? Like, what is the point? You just wasting your time, right? And so, anyways, this is a long-winded way for me.
What are you doing in the
It's a
swim
long-winded way for me to say that that was a really hard run workout this morning. The numbers were bad.
The numbers are bad and it felt hard.
And it felt really hard. So what should we do? We should come here and do a threshold set, right? That's the right answer, right? You're already full of cortisol, you know, and we should get some more in there because that'll help you sleep tonight. A little bit more cortisol. Now that I feel good in the afternoon, I had a glass of tea, you know. That doesn't mean come here crash threshold right now, right? Don't get me wrong. We'll get there. We'll get there, pal.
Do you feel good, or is your caffeine just kicked in?
Make the corrections. I was flying high, feeling like you have a chance again. You once again will have a chance. Another couple months, you're gonna have a chance. 10 days later, can't walk. There's a correlation there. So anyways, long story short, I'm going to, at best, do some aerobic hundreds. That's at best. And what will I cap it at? An RPE of 5 and a lactate of 1.3 millimole. Those would be my two. If I had a heart rate, I'd add a heart rate, but it's tough to get heart rate in swimming. And if it's forced in any way, it's a recovery set. We get out of here 30, 45 minutes, we're out of here. And that's it. That's it, because that's really what's going to be the indicator. What's going to be the indicator of the success of today's workout? You tell me. What will be the true indicator? A major indicator. Not the be-all, end-all indicator. A major indicator.
How you sleep tonight?
How you sleep tonight, because that's one thing that I have never given any real value to, is why do I sleep so effing bad? Right before I got injured, I probably already said this in a video once, I was having this conversation with Sam Long at the park while the boys were playing. And I was like, I sleep so bad. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I don't know how you're gonna train today. I honestly don't. You didn't sleep. You didn't sleep. How are you gonna train today? And then I go about training really hard for the rest of the day. I believe that I was in some sort of a cortisol fog, just chronic cortisol fog that allowed me to not feel anything I was doing to myself and allowed me to deteriorate my sacrum and my rib to the point that they would snap. With not really ever feeling even that like bad, you know? But so tonight we'll grade how well I managed my stress today based on how well I sleep tonight.